Uh, it look like I've been blowing my nose. Ow. So apparently I've got some kind of flu, probably the laryngitis, whatever it was a kid had. Every fucking school year, man. But I'm not going to be doing the live stream on the laptop tonight because, well, it's got dishes and medicine all over it, and Theraflu cup and tissue paper. So I'm all hopped up on Dayquil and fucking Theraflu and about to take my ass some Sudafed because I can't breathe through my nose at all right now. This was a supersized roll of paper this morning. That's how much I've blown my nose in one day. Fucking supersized, double-sized roll of this. I used to get like this like several times a year. And if you have nasal problems, the only thing that works when all the other shit stops working is pseudoephedrine hydrochloride. I think they changed the name of it. It's just pseudoephedrine. It used to be pseudoephedrine hydrochloride. Must be the same compound. But you have to ask for this at the counter now. Apparently people are making some kind of drugs with it. So maybe that's why they changed the name of the compound. Maybe they did change the compound. I don't know. But anyways, I just wanted to give y'all an update. See if anybody was looking for the broadcast or wanting to hang out or anything. Not too much longer. This is pretty fucking miserable. You gotta really to smoke cigarettes with a sore throat. I really love smoking cigarettes. Oh, got a little travel on the left side. There, what? Didn't last very long. The worst part about having total stuffed up sinus ways is that every now and again I'll just feel snot drip down right here. I'm like, I didn't even know. I didn't even know it was coming. You know, I'm tasting my own snot. Where's the tissue? I was like, okay, run for the tissue. It's fucking nasty. But man, everybody around here I've been fighting it off pretty good, but finally just, my immune system can take no more. So, who's watching? How you doing? Let me just mute it for a second so I can blow my nose. Oh, look, more people. Howdy, howdy. I'm sick. Give me 1 second. Muting microphone and live chat. Howdy, Mr. Conway. So I was thinking about getting on here and just putting like Final Fantasy X up, because I just started playing that because, oh, I'm just so full of medication. Just speaking of which, who look NyQuil? And if you're wondering, how can you just chug NyQuil like that? Need I remind you, I am from New Orleans, which makes me like, you know, like all the drunk people in Ireland and all the drunk people in France and all the drunk people in Italy and Germany. I'm a mix between all of them. In New Orleans, especially in my old crowd, we had a rule called the plate of spaghetti rule. And that is, you know, I don't do drugs anymore. It's been 15, 20 fucking years. Wow. It's been 20 years. But back in the day, man, we had a rule called the plate of spaghetti rule. And it goes as follows. If the amount of drugs you've taken in one particular evening is less than or equal to a plate of spaghetti, you'll be fine. That's the plate of spaghetti rule. Why spaghetti? I have no idea. I didn't make up the rule. But these are people like the people I heard it from, you know, just the sheer number of different drugs they did compared to the ones I did, just, it's even funnier. A plate of spaghetti worth of fucking ecstasy or mescaline, LSD, whatever. It's less than a plate of spaghetti, you'll be fine. Thought you were hardcore. Thought you were old school. There was this group that held all the raves, all the little techno drug binge parties down in New Orleans back in the 90s, called the Freebase Society. And this roommate of mine gave me the rule of spaghetti rule. Before he wound up my roommate, I went to a party at his house. That's how I met him. And like, it was a private rave held by the people who hold the Freebase Society raves and their drug dealers exclusively. I was there because I was friends with one of their drug dealers. Little short guy named Sean. And I had volunteered to take the sound system out of my girlfriend's truck at the time and rig it up in the kitchen so we could have a big breakdancing contest. Yeah, did I mention I kind of breakdance? Just a little. Not anymore. I hurt my back, you know, it doesn't go very well for me anymore. I'm old, etc. But I was apparently in some sort of a dance battle with... To this day, I'm not sure whether it was a boy or a girl. They won. Whether they were a boy or a girl, I'm not sure, but they won. They far outdid me and the other person that jumped in. Anyways. So, how are you doing this evening, Mr. Conway? Feeling better than me, I hope. Just fucking setting up the laptop just seemed like too much work tonight. It hurts to fucking move, man. It's just like I just want to like curl up in a ball and be warm, you know? Get the freaking plague, man. Oh, like my one kid got laryngitis. And my wife got her cold from somebody else. Then the kid got the cold right after the laryngitis. And I was fighting it off for a while, but I finally succumbed. 99 Civic, huh? They made a B16 SI that year. It's a good car. The ones around here are usually a lovely shade of blue. And I used to buy parts off that 99 Civic SI for my Integra. Oh, cool. That's a cool little car. That's definitely a car that rewards someone who knows how to shift properly. It's got, what was it, 8,300 RPMs, redline. It should have a higher RPM than my automatic one did. My automatic one was 81 or 82. I think it's 81. But the B16 manual version is like 83 or 84. It sings, man. You got the blue one and everything? The Monterey blue? Sweet. Silver, yeah, that's the other color they came in. I want to say they had yellow and red too. It might have just been red. No, for sure they had red. But I might be doubling up on the Integra. The Integra came in yellow. Boy. Fucking adjust this shit so I'm not Still on camera when I lean forward and blow my nose and shit. Yeah, that does kind of ruin it. What people don't realize is that there's better exhaust solutions out there for daily driving. Like, really, really, seriously, people. Fart cans are for the fucking racetrack. The reason why is because you can't take off well with them. Sorry, I forgot to mute it. Come on, Sudafed, kick in. I got a left side. Oh, so it's got an AEM computer? The fuel management computer in it? The launch control? Or is it the MSD launch control? We got two different ones that you can rig up pretty easy to those. One's on the computer and one's on the ignition module. Sounds like fun though. I still, you know, like as much as I understand how people say, no, you shouldn't do this, I like to try to find a car that has a bigger factory muffler option, or I like to keep with the factory muffler. And then what I'll do to get the flow to improve is get a fucking racing cat. You get the headers, and you get a racing cat, and then hook that up to the regular exhaust. But like you can go with a stainless steel mid pipe and then one of those little custom mufflers and hook it up to look like a factory muffler, like get an actual muffler with an actual output. And what happens is it'll still breathe almost as well on the highway, but your takeoff from standstill and your mid-range power is much better. So you get a little bit less high-end horsepower, high rev horsepower, but then all through the mid-range, you know, where that B16 especially is going to lack. Love the sound of a B16 when it hits VTEC though, man. My old one, man, it sounded like fucking Nine Inch Nails came and remixed the engine. Just like, had like this weird, I mean, just crazy sound to it. I think the fucking VTEC only even kicked on my car at 5700 or something like really high like that. But like if they got the fuel management computer on there, they probably lowered the VTEC point to 5000 or below. That's how you get that extra performance out of there. Like just by lowering the VTEC point on the Civic Si at 99 right there, probably get about a half a second on a quarter mile. It makes that much of a difference. They make you rev the engine real high before that VTEC cam kicks on. Yeah. Yeah, it should be 5,800, give or take, depending on the the throttle position sensor response. So if you're floored, it'll kick at 58. If you're not quite floored, it should do 66,000. But then the newer ones, man, they're even more intuitive than that. They got the fucking VTEC. They got two different VTECs, and they got them all over the place, depending on how you drive. Like, it learns how you drive. That's the iVTEC. I can do it at the iVTEC. I like the old school. I like feeling that crossover. I like knowing right where it's gonna be. You know, target my driving style to it. Just making me remember the Integra though. 96 Integra 4-door with a 2.0 liter VTEC engine just sitting outside collecting dirt. Hey. Whatever. So how's college going for you? Get any feedback yet? Have you taken any tests yet? Every time I swallow, my ears popping, just like over and over again. Cool. I kind of wish I would have finished college. I don't know what it would have helped, but having to drop out to live in your car ain't no fun. Cool. I did my first of my 2 planned water changes. I had a bunch more water mixed up to do some more siphoning. And then I came down with this fucking plague. Myrtle is begging for food up there in the little corner. Hi, Myrtle. I like how I have fish that know their names. Well, got anything you want to ask me about, man? Because I'm fucking miserable. I'm just gonna blow my nose and play my game until I can fucking sleep. I think my NyQuil's finally hitting me. Took her to the doctor today because she's been having these headaches from, like, extra headaches from her eye stuff. And the prescription they gave her for the headaches wasn't working worth a damn. So she went and got a different one, I think. She's talking about trying to work up at the little grocery store, Family or Dollar General, whatever. We've been riding our neighbor up there. She just started working up there. Brought her to the interview and everything. But like, even if she could safely navigate around the fucking store, she can't drive. Yeah, fuck. Oh, it's looking like it's not going to go very well for this grant that I applied for. The only thing I could think is if you're still on Twitter, Mr. Conway, go look on the list of the Australian scientists that follow me and try to find this out of the blue box thing. And just tell them that I have a very serious plan that needs to be implemented. So like I said, if they don't have someone, another marine fish breeder in Louisiana, willing to commit the rest of his life to making people see the profit in cleaning up the environment in Louisiana, in the most influential small town in Louisiana, Zachary. I want to get the whole north side of Baton Rouge involved. And then on the south side, I got people that I work with already. But around here, more than in the marine hobby. I mean, marine hobbyists are somebody in this state I can rely on. All I'm going to have to do is, reach out to them. But around here, what makes my plan so viable is that I'm going to be trying to attract the interest of farmers and landowners. There's a lot of farmers and farmland owners that live in these nice houses here in this town. Property, like in commercial investors. property managers and stuff like that. Landlords, you know, like the landlords from in Baton Rouge and stuff, they live out here. It's a nice town, it's safe. Everybody kind of knows each other, you know. And you can't do what I'm talking about doing. That's the thing. You can't do what I'm talking about doing in this town without everybody knowing about it. You know, it's that kind of small town. Like if you opened up a little hair salon in an existing strip mall, everybody might not take notice. But anytime there's a new building going up or new land being cleared, everybody in the fucking town is talking about it. Oh yeah, I heard what was gonna go there. I heard they're building this there. I heard it, you know, like. And I'm talking about a place where realtors, oil men, and farmers in a town where they live can go to learn about zero waste food production, disaster proof buildings, and how to restore the coast of Louisiana. You know, like not just what you're doing is wrong, okay? And not just one little solution to the problem, okay? Great Barrier Reef people need to realize that I'm going to come up with a whole bunch of different... I already have come up with, like, all-encompassing solutions. Everything that they're doing, basically, I've already fucking planned out to do, and more. I designed this one little system. It uses human poo to grow fish food, and then it grows fish poo to grow human food. So it's an aquaponics facility that uses the human waste to grow the plants that the fish eat. That way you're not just using human waste to grow your own plants. Because that's, you know, perfectly normal to me, but it'd be kind of weird to some people. So if you take your human waste, use that to grow plants for fish food, and then use these herbivorous plants to feed the fish. I mean, herbivorous fish to eat the plants. One of the two. And then to clean the water for the fish, you run it through an aquaponics system. So you grow food off of the fish dirty water. You grow seaweed off of the human's dirty water. And that degree of separation makes it a lot more marketable than just growing your own food out of your poo, you know? Use a septic system that basically uses like a mini marsh type reclamation process, coming up through a pumice stone filter into an aquatic plant bed, and from there into the fry nursery, and then the big adult section. And the water from the big adult section is siphoned off into the place where you grow your, you know, crops, tomatoes and potatoes and whatever else you want. And the whole system can be done flood-proof. The entire thing floats. The whole garden, the whole aquaponics area, the whole septic system, all floats with the house. No emergency discharges. Stays clean, stays above water. So you can do it in areas where there might be a saltwater flood. You're not going to lose all your crops, you know. And that's like not just a building contained system. I've been having the building contained one for a while that's like made for like a coastal disaster prone area. This one is basically you can build a fourplex or a multifamily housing unit and then have this as kind of like a planked out backyard for it. Like a big garden patio, if you will. But you know, there's one thing after another that if I make it available to investors around here, there's so many flood-prone areas. It's just a no-brainer. People are gonna just snap it up. I mean, while I had picture this, man. While I had my designs ready for everything from a shed to a barn to an aquaponics facility to a luxury home to a duplex beach house, had all these designs drawn, and I'm looking for help. Looking for somebody who can fund the organization of the project. You know, I'm just the inventor, right? While I was sitting there, capable of making an entire little mechanics shop float, sheds, just like a little one-car parking area, make it float, no problem. There's this guy right around the corner. I've told this story a bunch of times. I see there's a few people watching. He spent the last 15 years restoring a 1967 Stingray Corvette 427. And it was destroyed by that fucking flood. I'm just thinking, man, before that flood, there was a lot of classic cars that used to ride around Zachary. And you think, if a guy can afford a classic car, he can afford a freaking floating shed, can't he? And, you know, I could see giving a little discount if he'd let me drive it. But like, if I was to do this in a bigger town, it wouldn't get noticed as quickly, you know? It would blend into the background. But this area right here, every time there's a new construction project, the whole town's talking about it. Even if it's something that not everybody would be interested in. Well, what I'm talking about is setting up a flood-proof pyramid with a big blue aquarium mural painted on the front. and it's going to have ER Coastal Restoration Club headquarters on it. And it's going to have a neighboring lot where additional prototypes are going to be built and sold. The whole point of the fish store that funds itself is to be an educational center that pays for itself. So it's going to be a retail fish store that sells fish online, fish and coral and plants and supplies and all that, regular old aquarium store. But it's also going to be breeding the fish that it sells to increase the profit margin to help fund these extra different mitigation products. This facility is also designed to grow about 300 4-foot tall mangrove trees per cycle. It should take about 3 years to grow the first batch, but we're going to have a shit ton of them once they're all grown out. Not saplings, 4-foot tall mangrove trees that can be taken and purposely planted and planned out in the way that, they need to survive. Right now, we are planting mangrove trees out here in Louisiana, but we're doing it in one of them feeder bar methods, Like, I did it, pay me, I hate people like that. They're taking airplanes and they're just going and dropping the damn chutes into the sand. Might take, might not, Might work, might not. Might have 1 out of 100 of those chutes survive. So in the center of this facility, I'm going to have a Gulf Atlantic display, 8 foot by 8 foot, 7 feet deep of water. And then in front of that, right as you're entering, there's going to be 2 identical systems. One is going to be set up just like a normal reef tank, and the other is going to be set up the same way, only it's going to be topped off with local river water, so we can show the amount of phosphate increase and the damage that it does on a reef system. Oh, shit. Alright, I'll blow my nose again. I'm almost out of tissue. Fuck. So, what I would have the people at the Out of the Blue Box grant know is that what I'm trying to do is basically a central base of operations to take down the intimidation factor. Okay, like when there's a hard problem, it's easier to just put it out of your mind than to solve it, right? Well, the same kind of experience exists with saltwater aquariums. Okay? People think that it's going to be really hard to keep a saltwater aquarium, so they put it out of their mind. So my goal is to make saltwater aquariums less intimidating and more approachable. It's to make coastal restoration less intimidating and more approachable. And it's to make zero impact or net positive environmental impact food production to be something that's not like reserved for the big corporate farmers and shit like that. Not you know, reserved for farmers whose governments like to give them money to develop their stuff, right? I want to make this as a basic ground level thing that anybody who flips houses can invest in and can start making clean seafood and growing plants in a way that cleans up after itself. Because, man, Louisiana should be number one in the country in aquaculture, but it's not. You know what I mean? We've got more just absolutely fertile, enriched, nutrient pudding rivers going through this state. This is known as a swampy state for that reason. Our borders are two different major rivers. And we got another major river going right down the middle. We get the Sabine River and the Mississippi River on the east and west coast of Louisiana. And then we got the Atchafalaya going right down the middle. And there are more little tributary, small rivers going this, that, and the other way than anybody knows how to keep track of. I got one right on one side of my house and one a couple blocks down. And I could take Comite River water, not even Mississippi, I wouldn't even need Mississippi, I could take Comite River water and top off an aquarium and show how the algae blooms over time. And it's like, well, what can you do about it? That isn't going to cost an arm and a leg. That isn't going to cost a whole bunch of labor to operate, Well, the first way I'd approach a lot of these bigger wasteful places, like the giant pig farms and cow farms and stuff like that, is through creative landscaping management, namely terracing. You need to terrace so you can control the flow of your runoff. And that might mean, taking half of your land and making it lower so you can make another part of your land higher. It might involve, severe initial earth moving setup costs, but it's about whether or not you want to live or die. It's about whether or not you want to keep killing the ocean until it kills you. You see, like I've said, when it comes to restoring the Great Barrier Reef, all the little research projects, all the little restoration projects, they're very valuable for what we know and for proving what we know and that we know it, you know? But you got a few rivers in the world that produce so much pollution that if you just addressed a couple of them, if you just fix the problem of the output of a couple of them, the entire ocean would improve. When I think about it in terms of liters per hour, gallons per hour, gallons per day, how much just bullshit water, just the Mississippi River by itself, pumps into the Gulf of Mexico, and by proxy the entire world's oceans. You see, it's not enough to just address one problem at a time. It's not enough to get your clever invention on the news for a day. Oh, you can make biodiesel out of algae. Congratulations, people have been doing that for 20 years. What you got to do is you got to bring that home to the area where it's happening, where the small business investor and the local farmer and the local property management investor type guy, you know, the commercial guys who just go and buy stuff, renovate it, and rent it out. Well, what I've done here is I've made a market out of unmarketable land. Think about this. This is a way for the cheapest flood-prone land, which there is a lot. There's a community around the corner that was built as like a little suburban thing, right? Just like a little, not gated community, but like a little suburban development, right? Half the houses weren't finished when the flood happened. And of the rest of them, half of them got sold off for $12,000 a piece. I mean, wasn't even worth the materials that it cost to build those houses. But the fucking floods came and, you know, that big old part of land that everybody thought was going to be a good investment. Well, the only people it turned out to be a good investment for are insurance adjusters. But like seriously, Australia, out of the blue box, Great Barrier Reef Foundation. You need a man on the ground in Louisiana who can argue apocalypticism. Because let's face it, let's be real about this. Let's be real about this. We got two major reasons why the entire world is being poisoned. Okay? One is oil-based greed, and the other is apocalypticism. It's apathy, based on the idea that Jesus is going to come back and make it all better. Because, we've earned it by not fixing the problem ourselves. How does that work? But, that's what most people on the so-called religious right think. They think we don't have to fucking worry about pollution because God made this place in 6 days and he can destroy it in 3 or whatever. I made the fucking microphone again. But like, we need a place where Great Barrier Reef scientists can come and meet with Louisiana lawmakers. And set up an extensive cooperation program that goes well beyond what I can do by myself, but that I'm in a perfect position to facilitate. Let me put it this way. I'm pretty sure I can get the sheriff to come to the grand opening. Oh. Wish my freaking sinuses could have a grand opening. Oh, 2 tablets. Don't mind if I do. Single dose always works the first time. Conway, you still on Twitter? Try to talk to Terry Hughes for me. Oh, my nose works again. Holy shit. I can breathe. Wonder how long that'll last. But yeah, it was that guy Terry Hughes on Twitter that that shared the link for the whole Out of the Blue Box thing. And well, just make him realize that I'm the guy he needs on the ground in Louisiana, and that he needs a guy on the ground in Louisiana. I'm here for a reason, okay? And if any reason I could ever attribute to being the most rational for why exactly I'm here in this town, it's this path. Done in a bigger town, it would cost too much, and it would be too little impactful, okay? Done in a smaller town, nobody'd ever hear about it. Here, the town's just big enough to where the land is cheap in certain areas, the flooded areas. And it's the kind of town where people will come from other cities and other towns, and even from Mississippi to go to when there's a boutique type store reason for them to do it. But the idea would most certainly be to establish similar facilities, one outside of New Orleans, maybe one outside of Houston. And basically what I want to do is kind of actively market. Come have a visit. Come see the Gulf Atlantic Educational Aquarium. Come see Gaia. And I want to, I want to be able to make deals. Huh. Invest in this property or help grease these wheels. I'll come set up a fish tank in your house. I think the first thing I want to do after the store actually gets set up is basically do promotional displays at the local schools. And kind of use that as a means to network my way towards being a field trip destination. I think even the LSU Agriculture Center would want to send students out to this facility. But yeah, I think pass or fail for me might all be up to that guy Terry. Which basically means pass or fail for all of humanity, but you know, I don't want to be narcissistic about it. My entire life I have been a test. I've been a microcosm of a greater meaning. And as bad as this problem is, as much as my approach is needed, if people really want to refuse to allow someone to help based upon their religious views or the fact that they were the first person to point out Russia's psychological warfare assault, does the world deserve to be saved? Seriously. If after all the experience I have and all the work that I've put into this plan, as cost effective and thoroughly planned out as it is, as a means by which for the Great Barrier Reef Foundation to own part of a profitable American corporation that will help spread its message in a more effective way than anything else they could do, they're going to turn their if the people who care the most about saving the ocean are going to turn their nose up at me because of A, religion, or B, the Russia thing, I ask you, does the world deserve to be saved? Because that's exactly the fucking problem that we have here, people. The whole reason why my solution needs to exist is because people on the science side of things tend to think that people on the religious side of things are all crazy or stupid. But frankly, there's a lot of crazy and stupid people on all sides. And now, while I embrace my crazy, you can hardly make the case that I'm unintelligent. In fact, it'd be very difficult for you that I'm not one of the smartest people on the fucking planet. Because, well, how many other people saw the pattern and knew that Russia was attacking this country? A lot of people who I consider to be very intelligent people still don't see the pattern, and they still quote this idiotic brainwashing that we've succumbed to for the past couple of years, couple of decades. Still answer, you know, questions of political existence, existentialism, if you will, with Trumpisms. Like Russia kills journalists. Oh, but we kill people too. What are you talking about? I don't feel good. How much is that? Oh well. I guess I'll stop bitching about the same old shit and go ahead and call it a broadcast. What can I say? I'm just ready to get to work. I'm ready to stop watching the planet dying. And I hope the Great Barrier Reef Foundation starts finding ways to basically wield power through shell corporations. And I'm offering to be a shell charity and a shell corporation for them to help promote what they need promoted here in the South States. Anybody got a better idea? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Peace, y'all.